And good evening and welcome to another edition of Kearney Live. I'm Jim Dickerson along with Stacy Bratcher. Lynn Broughton's on vacation. In for him today is Rich Kolb. Welcome to the program, Rich.
Thank you.
Get to you in just a minute. Coming up first is our top news stories. For those of you who haven't heard, the KEC has a new executive director, and his name is Lawrence Gratian. If you haven't met him yet, I know I haven't, but I've told a lot of people he looks really familiar. So like I know him from somewhere, but I don't know where. But I'd like to also welcome to the program our executive producer, Brian Watts. Brian, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Greg. Great to have you guys back in.
Where do I know Lawrence from?
I don't know. You've said you've known him from all sorts of places, and I won't mention those right now, but you think you know him.
I do. I feel like I know him from somewhere, but I cannot remember where it is. So, Lawrence, we'll get together later. Not today. A little busy. If you get with my staff people, they'll set it all up, and we'll get it all taken care of there. In other news, we gave away the second annual Pete Chaston Award. It's a scholarship award we do out every year. Pete was he was our lead weatherman here for many, many years. He passed away in 2022, and ever since then we've had the Pete Chaston Scholarship. We give that out to people who are involved in some sort of media program or broadcasting. And this year, our award winner is our own, was our own. He was an intern here for several years, did a lot of stuff for us, Taylor James, and there's a picture of him right there. You can see that on the 1027 Kearney Mo website on the news page. Click on the awards program and it talks about the award, the scholarship, and all about that. So have that going for us. In other news, sadly, the Royals have lost 3 in a row.
What?
Yes.
They just won 8 in a row.
I know. This is disturbing, and I'm going to be all right. And I want everybody to calm down. It's going to be okay. We are 1/3 of the way through the season. We have the 3rd best record in the American League.
Yes.
We are not going to win every game.
No.
We are going to be okay. That said, if we don't win tonight, I'm going to be upset.
We've done better this year than we have the last, 3 years combined?
No, we've done, well, yeah. So I forget all the records, but we've set all sorts of records. So Bobby Witt Jr. was the player of the American League Player of the Week last week. We won more games before June 1st than we have since like 1972 or something. The year's probably wrong, but you see where I'm going. And the record is actually better now than it was when we won the World Series in 2015.
Right.
So
yeah.
Everybody just calm down.
Now we just need to get them on TV.
I have them on TV.
I don't want to pay for it.
I had so many thoughts that went through my head right there.
Moving on.
Okay, go to a bar. Go to your local.
I don't want to spend 4 hours in a bar.
Why not? Just gonna throw that out there. You could go to. Do they play it in churches?
Some do, probably.
I don't think so.
Well, we probably ought to kick it over to another subject.
Okay. You're the one that brought it up.
I'm going to kick it over to you.
Oh, are you? Am I leading off?
I'm going to kick it over to you.
Kicking. That's
These
funny.
are called segues.
Kicking. Because we're going to talk about Harrison Butker, so that's why it's funny. Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker addresses his commencement speech backlash. You say that 3 times fast. We'll discuss it next, coming up on Kearney Live.
Explore a place to visit. Explore knowledge. Explore fun. Explore relaxation. Explore adventure. Explore a hometown. Explore Kearney, Missouri.
Welcome back to Kearney Live. It seems that the Kansas City Chiefs are always in the news, and our players are always doing things to keep it that way. The Kansas City Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butker, said he doesn't have any regrets about his commencement address at Benedictine College earlier this month, saying in his first public comments since the speech that he received a shocking level of hate, but also support of his views. At the outset, many people expressed a shocking level of hate, Butker said on Friday. But as the days went on, even those who disagreed with my viewpoints shared their support for my freedom of religion. Let's watch this video.
All right, a member of the Kansas City Chiefs getting a lot of attention this morning, and this time it's not Travis Kelce. It's kicker Harrison Butker, okay? This is for his graduation speech at Benedictine College, where he basically told the women graduates there, congratulations on your degree. Now go be a wife, support your man, and have babies.
Because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation.
So that was a clip from LA. So now you know why it was spun the way it was, which we will talk about media after this segment. But gentlemen, I wanted to find out, what are your thoughts on this speech? Keeping in mind that this was a Catholic person sharing Catholic thoughts at a Catholic school. So what are your thoughts on the speech, and what are your thoughts on the strong societal reaction to the speech?
So there were a couple of things. Number one, the funny thing about it was most of the people who jumped on him at first didn't know what he said because the media jumped on it first, and we'll talk about it more in the next segment. Mm-hmm. The media jumped on it first and spun it in such a way, and that woman in that interview right there did it.
Right.
Because what she said in her intro is not what he said in his speech. So automatically everybody had the wrong information.
Yes.
I know it's shocking. The news would give you the wrong information. And like I said, we'll talk about that more in the next segment. But so first of all, that happened. That's why the initial backlash, if you want to call it that, was so harsh. Then they actually put out the transcript of what he said, and everybody was like, well, hold the phone. That's not what he said. Because if you talk to the people who have not actually either listened to his full speech or read the transcript, you are led to believe that he said, if you're a woman, you need to go hit the kitchen and make me a sandwich.
Right. Barefoot and pregnant.
That's not what he said. What he said was, there is and I'm going to paraphrase, there is a contingent of women who are going to go out and do their thing professionally. They're going to move on. There is a contingent of women who are going to be happy to start a family. And he didn't say you have to. He didn't say you're supposed to.
Right.
He just said there's a group that's going to do this and a group that's going to do that. And
and a group that's going to do both.
Correct. And there's probably a group that's going to do neither. That said, when you look at the whole thing, I was like, this is a non-story.
Yes.
The media took something that was a non-story and made it into a story, and then got everybody riled up, and then it's just taken on. It's like a snowball, and it's caught on. You know, it's got its own thing.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a non-story. He, number one, he's talking to, like you said, he's talking to his target audience.
Right.
When Elon Musk talks to people about EV cars, do you think he talks about EV cars? Probably so. Why? Because it's his target audience. That's what he was there for. You know, and I saw, and then I'll shut up. Stop it.
You take bets.
That's why I get paid the big bucks. I get paid by the word. There were a lot of commencement speeches all across the country that have taken on, in my opinion, of what a commencement speech is not supposed to be.
True.
A commencement speech is supposed to be, you've made it. Congratulations. It's time to go to the next step. I mean, you went through 12 years, in some cases more, of high school or of primary education, or you did that and then college. Now when you graduate college, it's over. It's time to move into the real world. That your commencement speech, congratulations, you made it, rah, rah, rah. These turned into political speeches.
Yes.
They turned into, let's see how we can turn it into a political speech. I don't think Butker's was political at all.
No.
I think it was driven to the target of which he was speaking. There are a ton of speeches. There was one where I felt like, and I'm not going to say who did the speech, but when Biden was talking to that group, and I saw his speech, I was like, I'd probably go home and call it good. He was like,
Well, some of the students turned their backs on him.
yeah, he was like, it's over. So that's all I have to say about that.
Rich?
Well, as usual, the mainstream media totally distorted his remarks.
Absolutely.
And what I'd like to see them do is interview the actual women in the audience and see how they felt about it. As usual, again, they generally cherry-picked a few women that were not in favor of what he said, and there's a little doubt in my mind that the vast majority of them believed in what he said.
Right.
The other thing is, maybe we ought to analyze this so-called negative reaction. Exactly who are these people? Are they a handful of people on social media that we have to listen to and put up with all the time?
Right.
I think maybe
Good point.
that's getting kind of old now.
It
that we
is.
have to, every time, even the mainstream news media newscasts tend to talk about what they heard on social media. And it has far too much influence as far as I'm concerned. So I don't think there was, I'm an old-fashioned guy, and I don't think there was anything controversial about what he said at all. And I'm not a Catholic, but
Right.
I hold a lot of the same traditional
Values.
views and values that he does.
Right.
So he has every right to say that, and I don't think there should be the least bit of controversy. And I agree with you 100%. It was made into something controversial when it wasn't.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
they spent enough time on it as it is, and he should go out there and make more of those speeches as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely,
and
100%.
you bring up a good point too. The media folks were reading off of what they got off of social media, because that's where the whole thing.
Right.
Then they picked it up. The news media folks, and we'll talk more about it in the next segment. So don't go away. They don't even research the story. And she made, in that little clip, Benedictine College. I don't even know where that
Shouldn't even
is.
say
Yeah,
it
where'd she
right.
get that one from?
Right.
And then what she said was, and granted, she probably didn't write the script on the teleprompter, but what she said isn't even factual. And it takes 2 seconds to go look at the transcript of what he said.
Right.
And it wasn't right.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, I read virtually the whole speech, and we've gotten to a point in this country now where you can't even go to an audience that is receptive to what you're saying, and it's not called controversial.
Right.
I mean, why would that even be, that issue arise when it's a small Catholic college? That's the kind of thing, anything to do with morality or traditional values, this is what you'd expect at a Catholic college.
Absolutely.
you bring up a good point. I wonder who the first person to complain was. I mean, that had to get out somehow, and it probably, I would assume it didn't come from there. I mean, maybe it did. I don't know. Do you know, Brian? Yeah, I don't either.
Well,
I
it
don't
only
either.
takes, one bomb throw to ignite the
True.
the whole situation there. So I'd also be interested in knowing what his teammates thought of it.
Right.
Do any of them have the nerve to come out and say, hey, we're in favor of what you said?
Mm-hmm.
And even if we weren't in favor of it, we're sick and tired of hearing people say you're not allowed to say it.
Right. There were several
So-
who came out either in support of Harrison or of his ability, his right
to
to
say
be
it.
able to say
Right.
those things.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's
didn't-
encouraging. to
I
hear
don't
that.
think I heard anybody who was like, he should have never said that.
From the
and-
Chiefs,
Yeah,
no.
nobody
Yeah.
from the Chiefs.
But
Travis
what's
Kelce
really
said
cool-
something against it.
No, that was Jason. It was
I thought it was
Travis's brother.
Travis.
And he really didn't say it against it. So what Jason said was actually kind of
He was
funny.
defending his wife.
He was defending his wife. He was basically saying he didn't agree with what Harrison said, which is fine.
It's fine.
You can do that. He made a joke, which I thought was funny. I'm not going to repeat it,
I don't
but
know
it was
what the
still
joke
funny. And but they made light of it. But again, as far as the NFL goes and the media and everything else, why are we attacking a kicker who made a statement based on his faith when on the same team
Yeah.
we have a guy who is driving 110 miles
right?
an hour?
No one was upset about that.
Nobody cares about that. We have another guy
Exactly.
who has, what is it, 10 kids from 8 different women or something
Right.
like that?
Yep.
Nobody cares about that. The NFL has a history of criminal activity
Yes.
and problems that follow these guys not only when they're in the league, but when they get
Domestic
out of the league.
violence.
Domestic violence, you name it. And we're worried about Harrison Butker and what he said in
Well,
a
but
Catholic
you saw the
commencement.
American people voted. They bought all of his jerseys, both men and
Yeah,
women,
that was
and
right.
he became the most
Yeah.
popular selling jersey in that week of time
Right.
span, exceeding Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Travis.
How
Right.
often did they follow up on that in the news media, though? Did
that
you hear any
didn't-
headline stories about that?
Yeah, I don't know if that made the media, but it was definitely on social media.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Well, I'm sorry, it didn't happen in the media. It did happen in real life, but you're right.
Right.
So if the media doesn't like it, we don't talk about it.
That's right.
So, while we're on the media, let's get it out there. Let's talk when we come back. We're going to take a break. We've talked about the media before, and we've talked about it, but you would think as bad as the media's reputation is, they would try to improve it. What have they done to improve it? We'll talk about it coming up next.
The Kearney Family Chiropractic Center. Whether you're looking for relief from everyday aches and pains or looking to maintain a healthy, active lifestyle, Kearney Family Chiropractic Center can help. Dr. Mark Strathman has over 27 years of experience and treats the whole person physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Kearney Family Chiropractic Center is taking appointments now at 816-628-6738. The office is located at 301 South Platte Clay Way, Suite B in Kearney, and their website is kearneyfamilychiro.com. Experience the power of wellness at Kearney Family Chiropractic Center.
Kearney Trust Company is a partner for success. Information, speed, and convenience are all valuable commodities in our fast-paced world, and Kearney Trust focuses on trying to fill the needs of all of their customers, whether they are running a company or a household. Kearney Trust, with 2 locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper, or on the web at kearneytrust.com. Kearney Trust Company, our town, your bank, member FDIC.
More reliable power means more of what you love. You expect your lights and appliances to turn on at the flip of a switch, and so does Platte Clay Electric Cooperative. That's why Platte Clay is working hard to make power more reliable in the Northland. We exist for one purpose: to empower communities and energize life with safe and reliable energy. To learn more about their plan to reduce outages across the Northland, visit www.pcec.coop/reliability. Platte Clay Electric Cooperative.
And welcome back to Kearney Live. We've talked about it a lot before on this show. We'll talk about it a little more today because the problem continues. The trust in the media continues to plummet, and it is at an all-time low. The question is, the media is starting to realize that. Loss of advertising, loss of revenue. If you watch, we were just talking in the break, if you watch local news media, you notice the reporters change every 3 to 6 months. They can't keep anybody there. No one wants to do it. Only 7% of adults have a great deal of trust in the media. 7%. I can get 7% of the people to believe the earth is flat. In fact, actually, I think 12% of people think the earth is flat. 38% have no trust in the media at all. And let's take a look at some reasons why. We're going to give you some actual examples. Let's start with this. Did you hear about the petting zoo that went to the local school district and they lost the alligator? Did you hear about that?
No.
All right. Here's the headline. The petting zoo is one of those things where they take different animals and kids get to see them, and they took an alligator. So this is what the headline of a local news station, this is here in Kansas City. We've blocked out which station it was because, well, they might get upset. But anyway, this is the actual story and the actual picture they ran. That is the alligator that got away from the petting zoo. Now let's talk about the truth, shall we? The actual alligator was 14 inches long.
It better have been.
Oh,
It was 14 inches long, and its mouth was taped shut.
Better not have taken a giant alligator into with my
But
kindergartner.
Go back to that picture, Brian. So that is not a 14-inch little baby alligator. That is like some major alligator sitting out in a field
adult.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I assume it's an alligator and not a crocodile.
Well, who knows?
But so once again, the media is taking something and blowing it out of proportion. Now, here's the little nugget. I just heard this today. It has not been confirmed, but the media won't touch it. Because how exciting is it that we have a loose alligator that got loose in the school? Do you know what the true story supposedly is?
It's exciting, but okay.
Do you know what the true story supposedly is?
What?
Somebody stole it.
Oh.
So they stopped looking for it, and now someone stole it while they were there and they couldn't find it.
That sounds like a TV script.
Well, it's one of those things. But why don't we want to say that? Because that loses all. We want to keep that fear going that there's a loose alligator somewhere in this school or right around there. If someone stole it.
Though apparently there's one in Smithville Lake.
Where'd you hear that?
On the news?
Social media?
Of course, it's got to be true then.
It's probably this
If you
one.
heard it there, it's got to be true.
So anyway, that's just the beginning. Okay, so let's talk about a national story.
Okay.
Let's talk about our good friend, social distancing.
Oh,
you guys remember that?
Oh, goodness.
All right, let's take a look. I think we have a video up first. Let's take a look at this, and then we'll proceed.
It's something Tristan Clark has noticed her peers doing, heading out with no remorse.
If they get it, they'll be fine, they'll fight it off, but that's not really the case.
Mindsets like these prompting a stern lecture from Governor Newsom.
If you cannot practice physical distancing, then are you practicing love?
Strong words emphasizing the need to reevaluate what a social life should look like right now.
We have to kind of rewrite the rules on what might be how we present a loving relationship.
Things like more virtual interactions, avoiding people you don't live with, wearing a mask when you do go out. Not the news Dr. Fauci wants to deliver, but says he has to.
I'm the Grinch that stole fun. You got to try to the best of your ability to have your social interactions in a modified way.
But with these warnings, will people actually listen? Lauren Vanucci says she hopes so, especially the younger generation.
With younger people, it's kind of easy to turn a blind eye because, you know, you're kind of sheltered from it. But, you know, the more you know, the more I think cautious you're going to become.
And Governor Newsom also saying today, if you can't physically distance for yourself, do it for Grandma Jean. Think of the most vulnerable, both he and Dr. Fauci saying we all have to be in this together.
All right, so after watching that story, let me ask both of you guys, and then we'll get to the follow-up on this. Is that a news story, or did you feel like that was propaganda pushing a certain agenda?
Okay.
Because
Pure propaganda.
when I went to broadcast school, we had to give both sides of any subject. So if we were going to talk about social distancing, we were going to have to talk about why you don't need to do it. This was, to me, was pure one-sided. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, it was pure propaganda for 3 years running. You weren't allowed to express an opinion that was contrary to that.
True.
If you did, the people in the professional world really suffered if they did. You know, well-known scientists. So the interesting thing about all this is, when is anybody going to apologize for what they did?
Oh.
You know, there doesn't seem to be any consequences for bad decisions.
Absolutely.
And we can only hope that if something like this happens again, somebody will have learned a lesson. But I doubt it.
Yeah.
You know, I really wonder about that.
Well, and so let's go on with that. So we've got a graphic here. So here's what came of this, and this goes to your point. We've never heard a whole lot about this. So they had a hearing. Fauci was at it, and what we found out was this whole social distancing thing was made up. Yep. It never had any social backing whatsoever, and I can't read it that fast if you flip through it like that. All right. Fauci told the U.S. lawmakers, well, you can read it there on the screen, that social distancing just kind of got forced upon us, and he said that basically, and I can't read it that far away on the monitor, but basically...
They admitted, oh, it went away too fast.
Brian's got these graphics going so fast I can't read them. But basically, in a nutshell, for those of you who are watching on TV, you can read it for yourself. For those of you driving in your car, please don't try to read it. But basically what Fauci said to this select committee was, it just kind of came about. There was no science behind it. It was basically just made up. Yeah. This made up propaganda that you saw in that news story and spread all over is what led to those little dots in stores. Remember those? Stand on your dot. We should be embarrassed for the human race as a whole. We were in businesses standing on dots because someone told us to. Then, remember my personal favorite, the one way in the grocery aisle? Yeah. Because everybody knows the virus only goes that way in the bread aisle and this way in the chips aisle.
I think we get your point, but why, what's something more current that we can tell they're still doing that?
What isn't there?
I'm just challenging you because I know how you feel about that. And I even asked you during the video, it's like, is this recent? Are there still states that have the masks and their social
colleges
distancing?
That tried to resurrect this, though, the mask thing.
I was going to say, have you ever seen someone walking down the street with a mask lately?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, you still see them.
There you go.
So the damage is long-lasting, but especially on college campuses, because I know probably a few months ago that the minute some kind of a new supposed disease arises, they bring out the mask. And there were at least 3 or 4 colleges that made it mandatory to wear masks again. So that sentiment and that mentality is still out there. It's just a matter of whether it could be resurrected on a large scale again, whether people would put up with it.
I don't think it can.
I hope not. I hope you're right on that one.
Should we talk?
Yeah.
But remember how violent they came? If you didn't wear a mask, you wore a mask hole and they called you names and all that. There was another thing. What was the other thing? Oh, vaccines. I mean, we literally fired people because they didn't get the vaccine. And we could go on and on for 20 minutes about that. So let's talk about something else. Even the Weather Channel is not.
Oh God!
Let's watch a little clip here. Now,
That's
do you
too
have the one
easy.
from the Weather Channel?
Yeah, it's
The
totally
video?
politicized.
Okay, you're stealing my thunder, Brian. Get that picture off the screen. Let's go to this video. Hang on. He's got it. I know he's got it. He's looking. Weather Channel.
Brian's doing a great
He
job.
is.
He's amazing.
Here it comes.
His
I
little
can
fingers
feel it.
are moving like lightning over
Anyway,
there.
the Weather Channel. Here it comes.
The Weather Channel is now responding to reports that one of their reporters was essentially faking it during his coverage of Hurricane Florence.
Probably seen the video on Facebook as that reporter struggles to keep his balance.
Okay, picking it up here in Wilmington, North Carolina, right at the Intracoastal, and we're in one of these bands.
So that's Mike Seidel in Wilmington, North Carolina. But as he braces and fights the wind Friday, check out the two guys who seem to walk right by him in the background there with no trouble at all. The video has been shared more than 1 million times on social media. So now a spokesperson for the Weather Channel is defending Seidel, saying it's important to note that the two individuals in the background are walking on concrete while Seidel tries to maintain his footing on wet grass. The spokesperson goes on to say Seidel was exhausted after reporting on air until 1 a.m.
So let me ask you, which is worse? The fact that he's doing that garbage or the justification after he's standing on grass? What does that have to do with anything? I mean, he's leaning like he's going to blow away.
Well, I'm amazed that they appear to be mocking him, their own kind. That it's like cannibalism at
He's
work
the
here.
Weather
He's the weather
Channel.
guy,
That's
yeah,
not really news.
Doesn't count.
Now, I thought that was daily fare in the evening news every night. I mean, if you watch them dance, a lot of them think they're actors and actresses here,
Yeah, that's
the way they dance around.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty normal myself when I saw that.
Oh my gosh. So, true fact right there. All right, so let's keep going. I'm getting it. All right, let's go to some images here. This is CNN. Oh, I'm not supposed to say. This is another network.
Everybody knows who that is.
Yeah, that's true. So notice that they're both standing in about waist-high water. This is during the hurricane. It was Ira, if I remember right, or Ike, Hurricane Ike. That's the picture that, you know, there's a news clip that goes with it. But the funny part that they didn't know is someone took a picture from a little further back. Let's take a look at that. Oops. Notice the camera guy on the left is the water ends right there.
He's on dry ground.
Anderson Cooper has literally walked down into water to stand. He may be on his knees for all I know, but clearly we've taken something and made it worse than it really was, because the cameraman's standing on dry ground right there. They didn't expect someone else to show that. So once again, the fine media is doing it. So I'll ask you, let's go over here first. How long does this go on before everybody just stops listening altogether?
Well, I have one question to ask. Are they below used car salesmen in popularity?
I'm going to say yes.
Well,
that's a good question. I'm going to say yes.
They've hit a new low then. They've achieved almost the impossible, I would say. It's hard to say because they don't seem to be changing their tune at all. They're certainly aware of all this criticism. There's no question about it. But I think they all live in their own world. You know, they're confined to the big cities. They live in New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., where they all think alike. And it's been so ingrained in their brains that they actually think the rest of us think that way too. I think it comes as a shock to them if they go out and they interview somebody in real America. You know, if they come to rural Missouri and they hear these opinions, they're shocked by it. It's just not something they're used to hearing. And I think any of us that know somebody that lives and works in one of these big cities, you can testify to it firsthand, because they just are not in sync with the average person, as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed.
And I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna keep continuing down. I really don't think they're going to change their ways. It would require a full-fledged revolution in thinking to see that change.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're seeing that revolution because with Harrison Butker, people are starting, not just Harrison, but others are starting to step up and share their true thoughts and feelings and others are rallying behind them. I know that we said earlier that shouldn't the media be getting the message because their ratings are down, the funding is down. I don't think their funding is down. I think they're getting funding from other sources, and that's why those things aren't bothering them. It doesn't matter because they're still getting a paycheck.
Non-advertising sources.
Correct.
You know, like people like Soros. And
correct.
Those,
Yes.
So let me ask.
They definitely are.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Stacy, and real quick because I know we got to go to break. But do you think there's an age separation? Because I know we've talked about there's a certain demographic of people that, in their day, and we're kind of that demographic. You know, and that's the way it was. That's where you got your news.
Absolutely.
And you depended on your news and you trusted your news. Does that is there a large segment of society that still believes that because that's the way they grew up?
So my mom, as an example, is still one of those who, if it's on the news, on TV, national, local, she believes it. And she will fight us tooth and nail that she's right because she heard it on the news. So I think there is still absolutely a contingent of that. I don't think they're the majority.
No, I don't either.
I think there's very few people still watching the daily news. I think most people, the younger generation, are the Xers down, I think are getting their news from the internet, the social media, those kind of places. But I do think there is a minority of people who are very loud and ruckus about their thoughts on what society should be. And for some reason, and we just talked about it, the media is following that minority rather than the majority.
But I think they're in sync with them, though. If you
absolutely.
look at the kids coming out of journalism schools and then look at their professors, there's no opportunity for dissent in the classrooms in journalism.
Well, and to that point, if you want, journalism is hard. It's a hard industry to break into. And if that's really what you want is to be on TV, you have to, you almost have to break some of your morals and principles in order to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You absolutely have to toe the line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not going to tolerate any genuine free thinking. That's the irony of the news media. Traditionally, the news media were supposed to be the free thinkers, the ones that were the critical thinkers. And it's evolved in a totally different direction now. They don't do any thinking for themselves at all. They take their dictates from particular political administrations and don't ask questions anymore.
Totally
agree. I think people are waking up to that aspect.
I do too. I do too.
All right. Yep. I think Brian says we need to move on.
Okay.
So, what's up next?
Did you know this last weekend was Memorial Day?
I did know that.
Yeah. So this Memorial Day in Kearney, we finally celebrated 17 of our fallen warriors from our area. We'll show you and tell you about it next, right here on Kearney Live. Stay with us.
Kearney Trust Company is a partner for success. Information, speed, and convenience are all valuable commodities in our fast-paced world, and Kearney Trust focuses on trying to fill the needs of all of their customers, whether they are running a company or a household. Kearney Trust, with 2 locations in Kearney at 310 West 92 Highway and 701 Watson Drive in Price Chopper, or on the web at kearneytrust.com. Kearney Trust Company, our town, your bank, member FDIC.
Electric cooperatives are different. We have a sense of pride in our local community and support the people who live here. That's why Platte Clay Electric Cooperative supports local schools, takes an active role in economic development, and works hard to keep costs down for its members. We exist for one purpose, to empower communities and energize life with safe and reliable energy. To learn more about how Platte Clay Electric Cooperative is working to achieve that mission, visit www.pcec.coop. Platte Clay Electric Cooperative.
Kearney Family Chiropractic Center. Whether you're looking for relief from everyday aches and pains or looking to maintain a healthy, active lifestyle, Kearney Family Chiropractic Center can help. Dr. Mark Strathman has over 27 years of experience and treats the whole person physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Kearney Family Chiropractic Center is taking appointments now at 816-628-6738. The office is located at 301 South Platte Clay Way, Suite B in Kearney, and their website is kearneyfamilychiro.com. Experience the power of wellness at Kearney Family Chiropractic Center.
Wow,
Welcome.
Stacy, I can't believe you cleared your throat like that.
Clearly, that was me, of course. Welcome back to Kearney Live. I had the distinct honor and privilege to be the Master of Ceremonies at Kearney's Memorial Day event this last Monday, or just 2 days ago. After 106 years, we honored 17 fallen warriors from our community. They were recognized in an absolutely beautiful memorial out at Jesse James Park. And we have Rich Kolb here to tell us all about it. Rich is the ringleader of the Kearney Holt Fallen Warriors Memorial Group. Rich, tell us, how did this project get started?
Well, thank you for having me here, folks. I appreciate the opportunity. It all started in some hikes in Jesse James Park along the trail. And for about 12 years, there was a sign out there that said a monument would be coming soon. So
For
a friend
12
of
years,
mine,
it's coming soon.
Yeah, 12 years. A friend of mine, Terry Buckler, and I, we walked by that sign so many times we decided to inquire as to whatever happened with it. So ultimately, we got in touch with Terry Carter, and he was one of the original founders of the monument idea. But our idea, our concept was totally different from the original. Ours was designed strictly as a memorial to honor 17 individuals, whereas the previous effort was a veterans monument in general to honor anybody that ever served in the military.
Okay.
So that all started about September of 2022, and we began with research. Fortunately, the Clay County Veterans Memorial down in Gladstone and Anita Gorman Park had all the names. So that was a good starting point. So what I did is I took all the names from World War I on, and then I tried to pare them down by town. And another good stroke of fortune was the fact that down in the Clay County Archives during World War II, a lady down there kept a scrapbook of everyone that was mentioned. Oh. So I was able to find a lot of the original obituaries of the guys who were killed.
Wow.
For World War I, the woman that headed the draft board in Clay County and Liberty, she made a list of all the ones from Clay County that had been killed. So that gave me the basis for the research, and then we started further afield. We thought of the idea of maybe including Liberty and Smithville and Excelsior, but we found out quickly that was not going to work because there were just far too many names, especially in Excelsior Springs.
Oh.
So we quickly narrowed it down just to Kearney and Holt, and threw in Paradise because several of the guys were actually born in Paradise, and they moved to Holt or Kearney. So once we got the names narrowed down, then we could start really zeroing in on their biographies. A lot of those had to be pieced together. There was no solid information on several of them. I'd find out what unit they were in, then I'd trace the movement of the units during the war that they were in, the battles they fought, and so I could kind of piece them together.
Oh, wow.
So right after that, the important thing for us was to get in touch with families because we wanted them to be full participants. Right. So it moved along. We went to the Kearney Parks Board. We got approval there twice, and then we went to the Board of Aldermen, and everybody was unanimous in support.
Nice.
So that worked out really well. We were very fortunate in the fundraising. It really took us only about 3 months.
Wow.
August through October of 2023.
That's amazing.
And we had about 10 really generous donors come forth, and that set us on the right track. So
wow,
really worked out well.
That is great.
Well, we're looking at some video of it there for those of you who are watching on TV. Again, if you're on the radio, don't look at your screen, but it really turned out to be a really nice memorial there. You can see there. And what is that we're looking at right there?
That's the actual granite stone that's 8 feet high and 6 feet wide at the base. And that contains all 17 names, and it's listed by war in descending order. So we started with the most recent, with Afghanistan, because we felt it would be most relevant to the viewers. Excuse me. Because we're going to have a lot of a younger generation viewing it. We felt that if they see Afghanistan, that might ring a bell with them. So we thought we'd start that way.
Interesting.
It's often brought up, well, what if, if we have to add a name in the future? Technically, we could put another name on the back if we wanted to, but we're not inclined to do that. We might even come up with a new piece of granite, but that the likelihood is very slim that we're going to have to do that. If someone were to come up with a name that was a distant relatives and somehow or another I missed it in the research, we'd take care of that. We'd get it done. But so far, we haven't any indication that's going to happen. So we've been real pleased with it.
What's the oldest name you have on there? Not the oldest person, but the going back the farthest.
Yeah, that would be probably in October of 1918, as far as the actual deaths. Now, one of the interesting ones in World War I, his name was Clinton Marsh. He was actually wounded tragically one night before the armistice. So the armistice was on November 11th, 1918, and he was wounded in action on November 10th. And he died several days later on November 15th. So, the fascinating thing about all these names was they are one heck of a human interest story in every case. For as tiny as Holt and Kearney were during the different wars, we were well represented in all the major battles of the wars. So if you look at World War II in both the European and Pacific theaters, we have somebody that was killed in every battle, every one of the major battles.
Wow.
For Vietnam, we have Quai Son, which is probably the most famous battle in Vietnam. The incident where Matt Mason was killed in Afghanistan, that was the single deadliest incident in the entire Afghanistan war for Americans. There were 30 Americans killed on that.
Interesting.
As far as the Korean War, Vincent, he was a POW, and he was basically he froze to death, starved to death. Just about everything terrible that could happen to a person did to him. So the stories are just amazing as far as I'm concerned. So that's why we decided to put together a commemorative book. And if somebody's interested in that, they can use the QR code on the storyboard. So if you click on that, the entire booklet will come up. So you can read about all 17 individuals there.
And the storyboard is out there at the monument site.
It's to the right. When you're facing the memorial, it's to the right of the memorial.
Yeah. I got to be, so I am floored by the high quality of the memorial itself and everything you guys have done with it. I don't know what Brian's got going on over there.
Trying to get the video going again.
But the quality of it's not like what you're looking at on the screen. The whole monument itself, I mean, it's very well laid out, well thought out.
Yes.
The books that you guys have are so well put together. You guys did a masterful job at this whole project.
Yes,
it is incredible. Yeah.
And the entire ceremony was masterful.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was thinking. Every step of the way, I've seen. I love paying tribute to those who, and I know it's a cliche to say, but it's so true. Those who've done so much for us, so that we can just sit here and do this, and make fun of the media and all that stuff. The reason we can do that is because of what all these people did before us, so that we could do that. But I've seen a lot of tributes where they really try, but it just falls a little short. I think what you guys have done here, It's just perfect. The way it's put together is so high class.
Yes.
So before I forget or we forget, for those who don't know, exactly where is it and how do they get there? For someone who doesn't know, and let's say they're not from Kearney, so how would they get there?
It's in Jesse James Park. So when you enter the park, it's going to be on your right-hand side where the walking trail is. There's a big green area there to the right of the trail, and you can park on the left-hand side. And if you ever went out there a day and it was crowded, you can also park further in on the fields themselves. It's a beautiful location. I mean, we were very fortunate to get that location. I can't think of a better one. I really can't.
Yeah.
If you go out there in the evening, it's, when the sun's down, it's really nice. If you go out there at nighttime, the flag and the POW flag will be lit up, and the memorials, all elements of the memorial are lit up. So it's a really pretty scene at nighttime.
And there's a pavilion with picnic tables there, so that you could have a lunch and explore all that. But to your question, Jim, if you're coming from either Iowa north or down in Kansas City south, if you just take I-35 up or down to Kearney, take the Kearney exit, I don't know which exit that is, but Highway 192, thank you. Take 192.
92.
Oh, 92, I always do that, sorry. Highway 92 from I-35, Highway 92 to Highway 33, go north on Highway 33, and as you make your way out of town and across Clear Creek, you will find Jesse James Park on your right-hand side, and the monument is immediately when you enter the park. So.
And also we do updates on 102.7 FM and 1027carneymo.com. If you look on the news page, you'll see the different news stories, and they do updates on that. So great job with that. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Stay with us. Final thoughts are coming up next.
Explore a place to visit. Explore knowledge. Explore fun. Explore relaxation. Explore adventure. Explore a hometown. Explore Kearney, Missouri.
And welcome back to Kearney Live. It's time for our final thoughts. I'll go first today, which is a rarity. Usually I go last. I've got somewhere to be. No, I'm just kidding. If you haven't been following the boys baseball team, the Kearney High School boys baseball team, which, by the way,
and with the win, Kearney moves to.
Brian's having a day today. Never mind. The Kearney baseball team has advanced in the state championship play. They are going down to They're going down to Ozark to play the Webster Groves Statesmen. That will be on 102.7 FM. That's on Friday. We will carry the game. Pre-game's at 3:40. First pitch is at 4 o'clock. And then we have continuing coverage on Saturday. If they advance, I assume. I don't No, Brian's going to.
Yeah, if they lose, they still play on Saturday. They'll play for third place.
Okay.
And if they win, they'll play on Saturday. They'll play for first place, but it'll just be at a later time. So
all right,
4 o'clock for third place and 7 o'clock for first place.
So I'm going to do a little self-gratification here, or self-promotion.
Self-gratification. Oh my goodness.
You have women present.
Now, Brian, put the camera on Brian for a second. Come on. There you go.
Hi, Brian.
I'm going to do a little self-promotion here. The guys who have been doing the baseball game, phenomenal.
Yes.
The play-by-play, the coverage, it's the first year we've done baseball. I know we're still looking at doing softball. I would like to think the reason the baseball team's doing so well is because of the coverage.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the fan base has gone up tenfold. But anyway, great job to the baseball, the whole Brian, you guys, and the whole team out there doing that. And then, while I take care of my own personal problems, Stacy, proceed.
Yes. Please never do self-gratification again. I wanted to tell you or remind you that the Kearney Farmers Market is open. It's every Saturday, 7 a.m. to noon. The next market will be this Saturday, June 1st. We are doing a food drive for our local Kearney Food Pantry. The theme of the day is we're focusing on collecting summer kids' food to support the local children in need. So bring things like cereal, pudding cups, Jell-O cups, raviolis, SpaghettiOs, Pop-Tarts, granola bars, peanut butter jelly, all those great things kiddos love. You can find all the information at kearneyfarmersmarket.com. It's all there. They're also continuing the food drive at the KMO Motor Show that is happening that same day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It will be out at Walnut Creek this time. So they will have pizza by the slice, there'll be restrooms, there's gonna be cars all over downtown Holt. So go enjoy that. Come to the farmer's market, go to the car show, bring your food drive donations, and then just a real quick shout out. Farmers Market on June 22nd will host a Kids Day. So if there are any kid vendors who want to be part of the Farmers Market, you can also join us on Kids Day, June 22nd. Again, the information is at kearneyfarmersmarket.com.
All right, thank you very much for that. And then for our final thought, Rich, over to you.
I'd like to urge everyone to visit our website, please. It's Kearney-Holt-FallenWarriors.com. And you can get all the details on the background of the memorial, the names. We're going to upload some pictures to it, so in another day or so you should be able to get a good overview of what took place on the dedication day. And if anyone happens to know some relative of one of the names on the memorial, please contact us, because we would love to get in touch with any of the relatives that we have missed. We know there's got to be some out there. It doesn't matter how distant the relatives are. We'd love to hear from them. So please keep that in mind, and we hope everybody gets out there to visit the memorial.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. And also, if you haven't seen it yet, this book is, this is a nice book. I mean, it's very detailed and lots of information in there, but it's the whole thing is first class, top notch, well done, excellent. But thank you very much for that. And thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being with us. Be sure to join us next week for another edition of Kearney Live. Good night.